I'm trying to wrap my head around why I'm standing here and he's not. And we all know why. It's not Tim Duncan to bring any attention to himself. We've been saying it for 19 years, and he really only cared about doing the best job he could basketball-wise and being who he was for his teammates, and being somebody who loved, his family. So that's really who he is. So this is the furthest thing from his mind, and so I figured I better come out here and do this and somehow say goodbye to him, which is an impossibility for a lot of reasons. But I tried to think of how to compare him and what to say about him, and I got a few thoughts that might be boring for all of you, but everybody always talks about who they like to eat dinner with. If you had one night you could go to dinner or go to lunch with so-and-so, who would you like to do it with? And people say, Mother Teresa and Jesus and the Dalai Lama. And okay, I get it. But if you think about a little bit more earthly, worldly type people, people who are interesting, I think of people like, William F. Buckley on the right and Gore Vidal on the left, when they had their debates. Some of you are old enough to remember that stuff. I mean, really clever, incisive people, ideas that blow your mind and all that kind of stuff. And I can honestly tell you, my dinner would be with Timmy. And it would be because he's the most real, consistent, true person I've ever met in my life. He is so genuine that it blows your mind, like Buckley or Vidal would in a avant-garde sort of way. To spend time with Timmy is really sublime in many ways. People don't know about his cleverness. I think of people like John Cleese, clever, incisive, sarcastic. Nobody knows that about Timmy. I can be on him in a game and ask him why he's not rebounding in a relatively stern way, and really get on him in front of everybody. And on the way back to the court, he'll say, "Thanks for the motivation, Pop. Thanks for the support, Pop." And then he'll turn away with his eyes up in the air, and we'll both start laughing. And people don't see those things. So, but his teammates have, and that's why his teammates love him, because he's been the best teammate anybody could ever imagine. Think about how many people have played with him. And all Tim Duncan has to do is he raises one of those arms, right or left, and he puts it on their shoulder, and it's a warmth and a comfort that they feel that allows them to become the best possible player they can be. And we've had a lot of guys go through here and be successful and then go on other places. And it's become because Tim Duncan created that environment for whoever came through here to be able to develop and create livings for their families. And we're all grateful to him. It's not a show of humility in any way, sense, or form. People who grew up with me know me. I would not be standing here if it wasn't for Tim Duncan. I'd be in the Bud League, the Budweiser League, someplace in America, fat and still trying to play basketball or coach basketball. But he's why I'm standing here. He's made livings for hundreds of us, staff and coaches, over the years, and never said a word, just came to work every day, came early, stayed late, was there for every single person, from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster, because that's who he was. So in all those respects, he's irreplaceable. Can't happen. We're all unique, and I guess each one of us is unique, but he's been so important to so many people that it's just mind-boggling. And to think that he's going to be gone makes it really difficult to imagine walking into practice, going to a game, getting on a bus, taking him a piece of carrot cake, whatever it might be. So he's been true to himself, and I read an article yesterday. I don't do that very often because most of what you all write is junk, so I don't read it very much. But this was by Jason Gay from the Wall Street Journal, and he pretty much got it right on the head about who Timmy is. And I don't know how much basketball he watches, or who he consulted for the article or anything like that, but he was right on the money as far as Timmy's class and humility and consistency over time. You don't see Timmy beating his chest as if it's the first time a human being dunked a basketball, as a lot of people do these days. He's not pointing to the sky. He's not glamming for the cameras. He just plays. And we've seen it for so long that it becomes almost mundane, but so special, and it has to be remembered. Jason Gay, this author from the article yesterday, he said that, to quote him, I think he said, he hid in plain sight better than anybody he'd ever seen. And it's true. And I just tried to think of somebody like that. And I'm a foodie. I'm a food wine guy. So the name that popped into my head was Anthony Bourdain. Like, nobody knew who the hell he was except foodies. And after he wrote his first book, he became popular. And all of a sudden, he's on CNN. He's doing these travel shows, and he's talking about. He's erudite. He's incisive. He's a people lover. He's talking about the Ramones, and he's talking about hooch, and he's talking about food, and everybody says, "Who is this guy?" Well, he's been there all along, and just didn't notice him in the beginning. And it's been that way with Timmy. Greatest player at his position who's ever stepped on a court, and now people are saying, "Oh yeah," that kind of thing. Timmy doesn't care.
Pop, did you also read the Wall Street Journal piece about the social psychology paper that Tim wrote at Wake Forest?
Yeah, Timmy's we all know he's a grad, but he took his education very seriously. And it's something that he relishes and is very proud of. But at this point, I can tell you that the thing that made him the happiest, I'm speaking for him now, and I hope I'm accurate, but I think the thing that made him happiest, beyond the fans and his teammates and all that sort of thing, was the time he spent with his two children before games on the bench over there. That's who he was. That's who he still is.
When did you find out that he made the decision he made?
That doesn't matter when I found out.
A lot of teams that lose a superstar are left with a big reconstruction period. You guys aren't in that pace. How much is his unselfishness as far as salary goes?
Well, Timmy, along with other people, Manu and Tony especially, over the years have sacrificed and allowed us to keep a team together. And of course, RC and his staff have been spectacular in keeping the talent level up and searching out gems that no one else maybe knew about or paid attention to. So, a combination of those things has worked so that we could continue to be a competitive team.
As much as he loves the game and you love being around him and him here, any talk about him coming in and helping out in the future and still being a part of this deal, because he cut it off and done?
Well, Dave, you and I both know that he's too smart to coach. That's for sure. So I don't think we're going to see Timmy going up and down the sidelines much. But I have a notion that he'll at least listen to being involved somehow or other, maybe even on a part-time basis, not a full-time basis. I don't know, but I'm certainly going to hit him with everything I have to try to keep him around here as long as we possibly can, because he means that much to everyone, as we've mentioned. already.
What's the one thing the organization is going to miss the most when they're gone?
I just think, the aura that he creates, the iconic figure that he established for us all those years, the security, the safety net, the home plate, the hub of the wheel, all that sort of thing is who he was as a player. Even when he didn't score as many points the last couple of years, people still don't realize how efficient he was defensively. Just look to see where he ranked this last year as an individual player defensively, and you'll figure that out very quickly. Offensively, people know how to react because of where he's at. He'll move on a court and react where other players wouldn't have a clue and they'd just be in the way, but he knows where to go. So even though his production stat-wise wasn't the same, we won 67 games because he still was the center of everything that we did at both ends of the court, even though other people scored more. So we'll miss that and have to figure it out. Other people will have to step up leadership-wise. That'll be a huge thing for us. Who's going to step up and be that quiet leader that everybody responds to and respects and feeds off of? Not a lot of people can handle that, so we'll see where that goes.
There's a romantic idea about going out, winning a championship. Was there beauty in the way that Tim went out?
Tim, everybody's different. People go out at different times for different reasons, but this is the way one would always expect Timmy to go out. He's the same person as far as his values and opinions of himself as the day he came in. I can still remember before his father passed away, looking at me in the eye and saying that I'm going to hold you responsible to make sure that when he's done, he's the same person he is now. And in that respect, he is. He's grown as a person, as we all do, through experiences. But his inner core, he was over himself when he came in. And after all these accolades and all this success, he's still gotten over himself. Hasn't changed a lick.
Just try to talk him out of it.
No. I'm so tired of coaching him. He's so stubborn. I would never try to talk him out of anything.
His ability to accept direction in coaching, was that pretty evident early, or something that you had to kind of feel him out for?
That's a great point. His willingness to allow me and my staff to coach him, and coach him critically. You did well, you did poorly. Here's the deal. That allowed for a lot of success because that set the tone for every other player that's ever come through that door. Because when somebody like him accepts and wants direction and coaching and responds to it so well, it makes it very difficult for anybody else to go in a different direction. So that was huge for our success.
What did he teach you about leadership?
That there are all kinds of leadership. His was a quiet. He doesn't wave a towel. He doesn't give speeches. When he speaks, it's for a purpose. Less is more, in a sense, with him. And so when he did speak, it meant something to people. And he led by example. He had a vision. Everybody bought into his vision. He was accepting. He was not judgmental of people. He didn't really even need to demand because they knew inherently that what he expected was what they saw in him and what he did every day in practice and in games. How he handled a loss. How he handled our loss in Miami in the finals. How he handled our win against Miami in the finals. That's who he was, and that's how he led.